April 17th. And I would ask you to please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Councilmember Keel.
Present.
Councilmember Brosnan.
Present.
Councilmember McLaren.
Present.
Councilmember Vera, absent. Councilmember Sorrento.
Here.
Councilmember Casey.
Here.
Council President Steele. Present. 6 present, 1 absent. This evening, we have 2 presentations. We'd like to invite the members of the Land Bank to come forward and present their information to us. Brad, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. A test here. Today we have a PowerPoint presentation. According to our bylaws, we're supposed to deliver an oral and a written presentation to you guys every year for the work we've done, our annual report. We've provided you guys that. It's sitting in front of you. So we thank you for allowing us to do this. I have Jamie Mager, our board chair here, and Paul Donnelly, our project manager. I think before we start, I just wanted to at least tell everybody what the Land Bank is and what it does in terms of for the city of Troy and the state itself. The Land Bank is a public authority. It's in the city charter, and it's one of 4 in the city. That's sort of a discrete component unit of the city of Troy. So all our finances wrap up into the cities. Once you do an audit, we're part of you guys, and then you guys get your audit finally and get it approved. So the Land Bank itself there's about 30 of them in the state, and it's authorized by the state to sort of deal with the vacant building issue, vacant, underutilized, abandoned, tax delinquent buildings in the city. We're able to invest money into, largely grant money into the buildings and fix them up and get them to be into productive use, tax paying buildings or buildings where people can live there and that sort of thing. So we have the ability to expedite. We can take gifts, we can buy them outright in the open market, or the city could sell them to us after a tax foreclosure process. So I just wanted to at least.
Or give them to us.
Right. So Paul, I think we're ready. We have a little video for you guys, and then we'll get into the presentation.
The Troy Community Land Bank's core purpose is to redevelop vacant, abandoned, and underutilized properties through community partnerships and planning. Our goal is to encourage economic growth and new opportunities for Troy's residents to make stronger neighborhoods and to greater quality of life. In the spring and summer of 2024, the Troy Community Land Bank Board hired Brad Lewis as its executive director and Paul Donnelly as project manager, both are part-time positions. Mr. Lewis and Mr. Donnelly worked hand in hand with the board to fulfill its mission. In 2024, the Land Bank has completed several projects, including completion of 791 River Street, re-roofing at 17 Park Avenue, 785 River Street, and 32 Glen Avenue. These and future projects are facilitated with participation from the City of Troy and its Department of Code Enforcement. Troy's Land Bank strives for transparency and neighborhood interaction, regularly holding community outreach meetings with residents, as well as working with the Troy Fire Department on utilizing our properties for training purposes. The Land Bank is chartered by the City of Troy and funded by the Housing Trust Fund Corporation of New York State. There is no direct cost to Troy City taxpayers. The Troy Community Land Bank has already completed 4 more projects year to date and will implement as many as 17 additional projects by the end of 2025, including the facade program in West Central. The Troy Community Land Bank strives to remove blight, redevelop vacant, abandoned, and underutilized properties through community partnerships and strategic planning to return these to the city taxpayers. In 2025,
All right. All right, we're good. All right, our mission at the Troy Community Land Bank is to redevelop vacant, abandoned, and underutilized properties through community partnerships and strategic planning. Our goal is to encourage economic growth, long-term sustainability, and new opportunities for all Troy's residents and businesses so that we can build stronger neighborhoods and enjoy a great quality of life. As the video said, we were hired last summer, and Paul and I, and we have a board of directors, Jamie here, and actually Seamus, I believe, is here today. We did get another appointment to one of the school district seats, so we're still waiting on a Lansingburg appointment. So council people from that district, if you want to nudge somebody, you're more than welcome to help us with that. It helps with quorum if we have a full board. Right now, we're using Whiteman, Osterman, and Hanna as our corporation counsel. And our auditors are Bonadeo Group, same auditors as the city is using. And just to reflect on the auditor and the attorney, they were both procured again through an RFP process this year. So it was good to have those people on board for this year. Part of the package we're supposed to deliver to you is who attended each board meeting. And so I should have mentioned that all of these slides are in your annual report. So you can refer back to them if you'd like. But anybody in attendance, we're supposed to submit that to you. And these are our committees that we have and the board members on them. And then we had a couple accomplishments. I mean, largely when Paul and I were hired, the main goal was to get the accounting back in order and to finish 791 River Street. With anybody with background with the city would know 791 River Street's been a long time coming. I think we are coming up on 6 years of development into that project. And so that was a major milestone. We were able to accomplish a couple other things, and that's largely because of Paul.
On a side note, 791 River Street is pending sale as we speak. It's expected to close sometime in the month of maybe June or July. They're just awaiting an inspection.
So we listed it for 395. Somebody came in at 400,000, and that's under contract right now. Again, they're just doing a phase one to make sure that they're happy with that. We filed our parish reports for 2023 and 2024, and that was in the addendum that I sent you all in the packet so that you can check that out. It's also on our website for anybody listening.
Last year, we were able to complete and secure 3 different properties in the city, 17 Park Avenue, 32 Glen Avenue, and 785 River Street. These were put out to bid through the New York State Contract Reporter, and we successfully got these jobs completed. Another thing that we do, and we're very active with, is the Troy Fire Department. The fire department used this property here on Glen Avenue, and they did some training there. We're also planning to do a lot of training with the fire department on a few other properties that we have plans for in 2025. Neighborhood meetings, Brad and or I have attended the Lansingburg Neighborhood Association meeting, spent time in the Little Italy neighborhood, downtown Troy Bid, and of course the Osgood neighborhood. We plan to continue these community outreach meetings to keep people informed of exactly what the land bank does, ultimately take blight off the street and get back on the tax rolls.
And just to follow up on that, some of the things that we wanted to encourage the residents to do is to notify us of anything we can do to serve the city. The land bank's got the flexibility to acquire the properties through different ways. We can use our funds to fix those properties and fight the blight that's in the city. And it helps when the citizens know the tools that are at their disposal. And, I think the board members and Paul and the community groups that received us for these meetings, we were able to educate people and just sort of be open to them dialoguing with us. Well, part of our package that we have to give you is what we sold and bought during the year. And so we sold a vacant lot to a neighbor next door at 140 President Street. This project is exciting. This was 7, 9, and 11 Park Avenue. This was something that ARPA helped put together for both Habitat and the land bank and the city itself. We demolished 7 Park Avenue and we assembled the lots at 9 and 11 and then sold those 3 package the vacant land to Habitat, who's going to build on 7, 9, 11, and 13 Park Avenue. It's owner occupied housing, it's funded through ARPA, directly to Habitat. So it wasn't ARPA to us, but we did get ARPA funds. It was just an exciting project for owner occupied people on Park Avenue. So this is the wrap up of the acquisition dispositions. We had no acquisitions this past year in 2024. Yep, and that's what we accomplished to date. And these are the financials. And we go right to the first slide. Is that the first line? And go back to that. Okay. So one thing we know that's coming up is we need to educate you guys on what we did with our ARPA money. And some of that is detailed here today. We have a detailed spreadsheet where we've been keeping our board abreast of it, but we wanted to at least let you know that for 2025, we plan to spend the final $38,000 in vacant building improvements that are in our inventory. We have an operational grant from the state where they give us $200,000 for salaries, attorney fees, insurance, and believe it or not, there's quite a bit of insurance. I think we're spending $50,000 a year on insurance just to own and operate a land bank because of the liability of the vacant structures. So we have these grants that fund our salaries and our keeping the properties up, the lawn mowing and that sort of stuff. And we have an LBI Phase 2 capital grants. 1.7 million was the original award. We've spent down some of that money to do the roofs that we talked about and different other projects that we have in that book for different buildings that we're going to do. We did some decks. You might have saw pictures of that. And we're going to spend the balance of that grant, or at least close to it, the 1.3 million this year is what we're hoping to do. We have to spend down 75% of that grant in order to be eligible for another round of funding. So we're excited to move that forward. We have projects identified for that.
Again, one thing that needs to be mentioned, and the public needs to know this, is that what we do has no direct impact and cost to a Troy City taxpayer. So people don't realize that. So when we're in community meetings, we need to let everybody know that it's not the city of Troy doing this and implementing tax and spending residents' money. This money is totally funded by the Housing Trust Fund Corporation in New York State.
Yeah, that's the HCR administers that program. So it's a state funded thing. So people do pay state tax, but it's not direct to the property tax of the citizens of Troy directly. So that's a positive thing. And I'm sure in the past, the land bank has been asking the city for help. And in this case right now, as we stand, we're not looking for anything other than just help us help you in that way. These are the exact projects that we're working on for the rest of the year. We're doing a facade program, which is exciting. It was a couple of years in the making where we're investing HCR's grant money into 13 buildings in North Central, where we're doing up to $18,000 in the facade of their buildings, just to spruce up the neighborhood a little. So that's exciting.
It's very exciting. And as you can see, these are just projects right here for 2025 on the top level. 32 Glen, 3209 7th, 3211 7th, 3229 6th, 3236, and 785 River. These projects are just done this year so far. Our plan is, in addition to the 4 properties that you see on the bottom of the slide, also if we add on another 13 for the facade program. So by the end of the year, if you do the math here, hopefully we're going to end up with 22 completed projects before the close of 2025.
And so, again, we're supposed to submit to you our financials. And so we just wanted to show you that, what we did last year, our net income based largely on using grant money, is that we have $241,000 in the black. So that's not cash, that's in inventory and buildings. And, when we take grant money and when we buy services from somebody, we capitalize that, we don't expend it. So it becomes our inventory and it's not cash, but at the same time, it's a good figure to have that we're not in a red situation. So
we don't mean to make this presentation overkill, but between the board, Brad, and myself, the one thing that we found out that was missing prior to us getting into the land bank was total transparency. And we want to make sure that everyone knows exactly what we're doing every step of the way. And if you have questions, kindly ask.
And so we have to, again, tell you what current properties we have and whether they're for sale, whether they're land banked, which land banked is a term that basically we're not listing them for sale. They're there for us to work on for now. And this is changing. We just unbanked, that's the term in land bank, where we unbanked the 4 buildings, 3209, 3211, 3229, 3230. So they will be listed for sale next week. The broker's going to do a walkthrough and get a price on it. But the rest of the stuff we're anticipating doing work on, or we're anticipating assembling it for a larger project. And our goals for this year are to exhaust the rest of that phase 2 grant. We talked about that 1.3 million and 1.4 million. I forget what the exact number was. We have 2 to 3 properties we're expecting to rehab. We have 4 of them banked. I don't know if that money's going to go for all 4. If it does, I'd be very happy. But if it goes for 2 or 3, I think that would be more realistic. We want to continue to be a resource to the city, acquire problem properties, stabilize them, and apply for another round of the LBI Phase 2 grant, and assemble the final 2 lots of 6th Avenue, maybe do a Habitat for Humanity development like we are doing on 7, 9, and 11 Park. We're going to sell 791 River Street, 17 Park, and we did already sell 3215 6th Avenue, and that's actually only a couple weeks away from being a rentable unit. So we're excited about that too. And finally, execute the facade program in North Central to invest in over a dozen properties, 13 to be specific. So a baker's dozen. So we're open for questions. We thank you guys for receiving us, and we just appreciate you.
Thank you, Brad and Paul, and Jamie, for for the excellent presentation. It's really exciting to see the work that you've accomplished in such a short period of time, and we look forward to more good news. Do any of the council members have questions for the folks?
Council President Still.
Council Member Casey.
Yeah, I just want to say, when I first got on the council, the land bank, I heard of it, wasn't really on my radar. Just want to thank Council Member Brosnan. He was really hard on it. I see why. I mean, a lot going on in his district, very important to his district, and he did a good job bringing it to all our attention. It's nice to see the stabilization efforts, because a leaky roof can lead to a lot of deterioration, and that's what happens a lot of times. And you see beautiful buildings that could have been saved. So it's really good, because that's constantly, talked about, is making sure we preserve buildings, even if nothing's going on with them, they're empty, that's done. So that's good. And thank God about 791 River Street. Oh my God, I can remember years ago, they were going to spend $300,000 to rehab whatever it was. And then I know it's been trouble, but it's good that something's going on with it. Real quick, I just want to say, just looking at the board members, I know a lot of them, and just you guys up there. I mean, Jamie, your buildings, all the work you've done, really, really good stuff. Brad, you've taken some stuff that I thought, I mean, the one house on 4th Street, I think if I pushed it, it would have fell over. And you stabilize. It's a beautiful apartment building now. And Paul, you've always had rental property. So very confident in leadership of the land bank. I think it's going great. It's good that guys are, letting Troy Fire to use it. I'm a retired fire captain. We always looked for those houses we could use in real training. I do have properties that I want to bring to your attention so you could look at. There's quite a few. I've been meaning to get the list together. There's even one on my street. These are like in beautiful neighborhoods that are just abandoned. And I know the one organization that could make it happen and get rid of these zombie properties is the land bank. So that's just great. Now, I just have one question. Now, when you are going to redo a building, do you have contractors that you normally deal with, or everything goes out to bid, or do you have, people that you work with?
Pretty much everything we do goes out to bid. Again, we utilize the New York State Contract Reporter to reach out. We also reach out to MWBE contractors. It's our goal. We have a goal of 10 to 20% that we can hopefully achieve before the end of the year. It's tough sometimes to get these people to make a proposal or a pitch or put one in, but we constantly work on it. So our proposal is just to further it a hair. Sometimes we put something out, we get 3 proposals. Sometimes we put something out, we get 12 proposals. So it depends on the project, the value of the project, et cetera. Hopefully I answered your question.
Thank you.
Real quick, there, on our website, our procurement policy is there, and it defines at what dollar level, how in depth with our RFP process we have to go. And so we use that really as our guide to, if it's a $300 to cut back some shrubs or something like that, it's much different than a $20,000 roof, which is much different than a complete renovation to a building. So the procurement policy guides us there.
Thank you.
Any other council members have questions? Councilmember Roslin.
Just want to say thank you for all the work you're doing, North Central. It's there was a couple issues, a couple zombie buildings, and you guys have come in and really turned it around. And I just want to say thank you for everything you're doing. Just let me know anything else I can do to help.
Thank you for taking the lead on getting our appointments, because the full board is making this way easier for us.
Council President,
Councilmember Soriento.
I just want to say you guys should really be really proud of yourselves. This has come a long way, and this is incredible.
Thank you so much.
Council President.
Councilmember McLaren.
I want to echo all the thanks. I didn't have much experience with the land bank prior to being on the council. So if there are properties identified, we can contact you. If residents, neighbors, in our districts, contact us, we can contact you to take a look at things. Is that kind of how it works?
Okay, yeah, so that's a great question, because we can only invest land bank funds into properties we own.
Okay.
So there has to be somebody that's interested in giving up title. Say they're giving up on the building, it's an estate situation, maybe there's something where the person just can't do anything without it. In the city's perspective, they have to wait about, I think it's 3 years for a tax lien foreclosure. If that same person was willing to just give it to the land bank, then we could take over and start our stabilization efforts. But we can't put land bank money onto private property, meaning it has to be in our title, unless we're executing a grant that's earmarked for a specific thing like the facade program. So we can take HCR's money and invest into private property. So if there was a person that didn't know what to do with their building and they wanted to just let it go, and they didn't want to, or in the city didn't really want to see 3 years of deterioration, they could give it to us. We could stabilize it, potentially go all the way, or maybe just do a roof and make it so it's safe, and then sell it to a developer, and then the developer immediately starts paying taxes. So we can help sort of lubricate the gears of the process of changing ownership.
That's great to know. Thank you.
I think one of the points that you made were your emphasis on owner occupied, and I think that's terrific. We need more of that, and so I commend you for that. And I think, given the fact that you've been very constrained in the past by what the Troy Land Bank can actually accomplish compared to, say, Albany County, for instance, where any kind of vacant land is, any kind of abandoned property is automatically turned over. So that just adds to the excellent work that you're doing, given the constraints that you must function under. So on behalf of all of us, thank you. And thanks for this great presentation.
Council
Thank you.
Oh, we have one more?
Yes.
Okay.
If one were to want to, let's just say, offer a house to you in their final days, would you give them a life estate? You ever accept anything under those terms where they could stay there until they die and then you receive the property?
That's a great question.
It is a great question.
I think that probably they would, and of course, I might have a background in financial planning, but they might, but I'm not a financial planner in terms of a licensed one. But I would think that they probably want to consult like an estate attorney and maybe make some sort of trust where they could then bequeath it to us. But otherwise, no, the land bank doesn't take ownership and let people live in it yet. You could talk to the board and maybe they want to make that direction, but we're board governed. And so they would all have to agree on it. And I'm not sure that that's what they want, but I mean, there's been some strange ideas thrown around, and one time somebody offered Mount Olympus to us. So,
Well, if you had let's just say an apartment complex and this, owner just felt like I can't keep up with the ownership of having, the additional 3 units that she has to take care of. You let me live here until I'm deceased and, you would rent out the apartments or whatever, that kind of thing.
It's an interesting question, to say the least, you know. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Councilman, as these two have both echoed, yes, that's an interesting question. It's been this is my second term on the board. It's been a long 6 months to get us to where we're at. And currently where we are at, as the board chair, at this time, I would not recommend to the board that we become landlords. And to explain further, we just stabilized the organization, right? So to become landlords, you're getting into a whole different animal, right? Right now, we're stabilizing and we're getting things into owner occupied first. Secondly, into people who can rehab these buildings and get them rentable. For us to open ourselves up to the liability and the maintenance and the overhead costs of being landlords or life estate partners would not be in the best interest of the organization at this current time. In the near future, if these balance sheets continue to move forward as they have very quickly in the last 6 months, that would absolutely be something I would entertain to recommend to the board. But life estate right now, that would have to be a no from me as the chair.
All right, thank you.
Just so you know, there used to be a summer home on the top of Mount Olympus.
I just want to say you have certainly raised the bar in
yeah.
terms of annual reports.
I know, it's
So-
beautiful.
They're amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you for that compliment.
Okay. Well, again, thank you for the
Thank you.
presentation.
Thank you for taking the time today.
Good evening.
They're beautiful.
Amazing.
It's like a storybook.
I feel like I should have them sign autograph.
Oh, that's a good idea.
You autograph our,
Can you autograph our books?
Brad,
Come on.
you autograph them?
Pardon me? Yeah, he's away. On vacation. Next year, we're gonna need, the other thing is tonight is one of our most holy days and I can't believe I'm sitting here and not at church.
It's true.
It's true. So next year we need to look at the calendar better. Holy week, yeah.
Yeah, I.
Oh, okay.
They took care of it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
So next year we'll do better.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I'll be here. That much I know.
Ready for Olivia?
Yeah, we're just waiting for them to pack up.
Oh,
Thank you, Paul. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
At this time, we have Olivia Clementi from the Troy Bid, who is going to also make a presentation.
Yeah.
And
wait, Jamie's on this one too?
Jamie's Jamie's doing double duty tonight. Okay, very good. We're impressed.
And filling in for the Corporation Council tonight is Jamie May.
Right. And the mayor tonight will be Jamie Maker.
Thank you. Did you get one of these?
Of course not. Why would I get one of these? That's because she caucused with a majority and not with anybody else. He's gonna give me one or else.
Council, we are here to present to you the justification for an increase of a bid special assessment And before Olivia gives her presentation, I'm going into my third term on this bid, and it's been a very difficult struggle in my two previous terms. I would have to say much more of a struggle than what I was introduced at the land bank. Since Olivia's taking over as our interim and then our permanent executive director, things have become much more stabilized and our focus and direction have narrowed to where we can actually get things accomplished through the bid. One of our biggest struggles is obviously how we are funded, okay? Along with how we are funded is the public perception of the bid. What does the bid do? Why are we even there? What good is the bid? A struggle in the past was, mind you, our board is made up of 22 board members. That's a lot of different opinions, a lot of different directions that people are wanting to go. I've expressed in the very recent future where our board is there to serve the bid district. Board members are not elected or appointed to the board to be self-serving or to be there to promote their brick and mortar or their block or their interest. They're to promote and to work for the 253 businesses in the district and numerous other commercial building owners. So with that all being said, we are in a situation where I was able to ask Olivia to present, get our board to vote on what are our top 3 focuses so we can utilize the funding that we have, which we get $175,000 from the property assessment. That's it. The rest of the monies, Olivia and supposed to be board members have to go out and hustle to fund the bid. We get 5% of the assessment, of the assessed value of the property owners. Olivia has done some work recently where she has reached out to the bids across the capital region and outside of the capital region, and they've all asked us, how do we do it? How do you operate on that margin? They get, New York State law says 20%. 20% is the ceiling. I'll let her do her presentation and I'll close with this. 5%, it's not possible. That's why all of the business owners, all of the property owners, a lot of people behind me say, what does the bid do? Well, we don't see nothing. Well, you can't with zero money. So what I've proposed to her, and we've taken the last 2 weeks to do it, we've gone to the business and property owners who pay the lion's share of the bid. Their assessment is the highest, right? To ask them what their opinion is. And some we were met with not criticism, but they didn't know what we did either, right? But they also didn't know what we were operating on. So once we proposed to them what we want to do with this increase, they were all on board. They're all willing to write letters of recommendation for this increase. We were also told that by some that when this thing was born back in 2004, that they knew this small percentage was next to impossible, but they were willing to take a shot because it's something that the downtown district needed. I ask you to consider after listening to Olivia to allow us to do this because I will give just as much as I gave to the land bank to this bid. If we are able to give our executive director, if we're able to empower her and give her the resources to do the job, she will do just as good a job as Mr. Lewis and Mr. Donnelly did prior to this presentation she's going to give you. Thank you.
So just to reiterate everything Jamie said, Jamie is a board member. He was there before my time on the bid. I've only been there for 3 years, and in that 3 years has been rebuilding. The research I did is I went to every single capital region bid. I went to downtown Albany, all 3 of their bids. I went to the Schenectady bid, and I pretty much sat down with all their executive directors. I asked them what their budgets were, and I asked them what they do for their downtown. I found that every bid is at almost $1 million budgets, where we're at 350,000. On top of that, they have 4 full-time beautification staff members. For the first time ever, I had to cut our beautification staff member in the winter months. That's in all the years of the bid has never happened, but that's where the reality of our funding's at. So that beautification staff member has been with the bid for 15 years. He's out every day on an electric vehicle that the Troy Redevelopment Foundation funded for us, that we didn't want to pay for gas anymore to get that out of there. So we have an electric vehicle that we charge. He cleans the streets. He waters all of the flowers in our downtown district. He helps take baskets down. He helps take the planters out. He waters everything and cleans all of the streets. All these other bids have utility vehicles. They have an ability for snow plowing, removal of snow for their bid district and the members there. That's something that this bid does not have access to because we don't have the funding for that. Other bids do not do as many events as ours does. The reason that this bid does all of the events in downtown Troy is because I have to. If I eliminated Rockin' on the River, Pig Out, Chowder Fest, Hot Chocolate Stroll, and all the Troy Night Outs, you would have no events going on in the downtown. I would lose my sponsorship. I get $70,000 in sponsorship every year, and all of that sponsorship is strictly for events. The Downtown Albany bid has 4 main stake events that they can put their all into, which is something if we were able to get an increase on the assessment, we would also do. We'd invest more into Rockin' on the River, Chowder Fest, and Pig Out, which are the staples of the bid. When the bid was created, those were the events that this bid did. We cut back. We used to do 8 Rockin' on the Rivers. We do 4 because we can't afford 8 anymore. So now we only do 4 every other Wednesday versus every Wednesday. So that's taken away from people coming to the city every single Wednesday. Now, based on that event-driven approach, you will hear in the downtown we're an event-driven city. I don't think that's true, but if we were able to have funding that helps us put more into tourism and marketing, that would be a huge game changer for us, where we could actually put funds into getting people to Troy. On top of that is everything I am doing, which the Schenectady bid has said to us that they actually look at Troy and they copy a lot of the things that we do because we are doing everything right. We just don't have a good budget. We're not paying anything that we shouldn't be paying. We're not infiltrating another area of our budget that we shouldn't. I have this budget here in front of you so you guys can look at the bid budget. Everything that is there is where it's supposed to be. But with that budget, I've listed in this presentation our beautification of everything we do. We hang 150 baskets every May for the downtown district. We plant over 70 planters with flowers every May. We host volunteer cleanups starting in April to September. We own over 20 cigarette butlers throughout the city, downtown Troy. Again, Trevor Shim, who has worked with us for over 15 years, cleans up all the trash, waters all of the plants in downtown Troy. And now we've officially been able to start planting more trees in downtown Troy through a tree fund that just wasn't utilized correctly. And we own the banners in downtown Troy. So this year you're going to see 100 new banners come up, but that's all I can afford. I will not be able to do banners next year if I can't increase this budget. Quality of life. We have worked with the city of Troy. We are partners with the police department. We've worked really hard to fix the lights in downtown. So we have walked around as volunteers. We have made a map of all the lights that are out in downtown. We worked with the city. We got 40 of them turned on. I work with the Troy Police Department to target hotspots. Every week I get a report that shows me where crime is. We focus on that. We let our community officers know where that is so they can kind of manage those areas. The art block that the art center did, the reason it went to Church Street Alley is the bid really advocated for that. We knew Church Street Alley was not a good area of Troy. I mean, I feel like everyone in this room knew that. So we really pushed to work with everyone who owned those buildings. And I got everyone to sign a contract to be able to get that graffiti onto the walls to kind of help with the crime that was happening there. Marketing, I have over 250 businesses in that district. I have one person running a social media account and myself. So we are doing all the marketing for 250 businesses. When I started in 2022, I had 9,000 followers on our Facebook and our Instagram. As of today, we have 18,200 followers. So we're putting the effort into these things. I ran the first downtown Troy commercial last year for the holiday season. I was able to do all of this, but I can't do it next year. So everything that the downtown is feeling from this bid, I'm doing it now. I'm working the hardest that I can. I'm just 2 people. I used to be 4, but I had to let go of 2 staff. And again, I had to put someone on part-time. That has never happened before. So the restraints are being felt, and I feel if the bid was to dissolve, which is what it's pushing towards, you're gonna feel that in downtown Troy. You're not even gonna feel it just in downtown. You're gonna feel it in the city of Troy. So this is something that's going to be felt throughout the city. This pride that we have, I know the entire city goes to these events, Riverfest, Rockin' on the River, Pride Night Out, Pig Out, Chowderfest. These are the staples of downtown Troy. They've been here since 2003 when everything started, 2004 when we were established. So as you look through this, you're gonna see that severe underfunding. We are not matching the capital region. We're not close to what the capital region is doing. We are very much behind, and that's where it's important to understand if we're able to increase it, it's also a benefit for the city of Troy. This is a positive for the quality of life, the safety, revitalization and renewal, and economic growth. This is putting more money into beautification of our current spending of $6,000, putting that to $18,000. Snow removal, finally being able to help these people in getting rid of that snow. We already have a plow that the bid bought when it first was established. We just aren't able to use it because we don't have anyone to run it. Community events, I'm at 8,000 in my budget right now for community events. If we increased it, I'll get to 25,000. Staffing, I have, like I said, 3 people currently on staff, 2 full-time, 1 part-time. I'm at 219,000. I'll get to 659,000. That allows beautification staff. So hopefully getting us to 4 beautification staff members that can help clean up the downtown. So cleaner and safer streets in the downtown area. I mean, 15% sounds like a lot. It's 15% of your assessed value on your property. It is just the district. So that district that runs from Ferry Street to Hoosick Street. The parcels in the bid district are, you have to have 3 or more apartments. Those are the people that invest into this. So you will feel that investment into the bid. So even though it's going to increase that district, they're still going to get back, because this money that the bid uses, everything I just explained to you, that's a give back. It is not going to just me or my staff. It is going to beautification, quality of life, and safety and economic growth. That is going straight back into those that invest into the downtown. So that's what I find important and critical. I know for myself and Jamie, we have been meeting with the people that pay the highest. There's an example I gave all of you that shows you someone who has 8 properties that pays a large chunk. That large chunk you have in front of you is not as large as you would think, but if you put them to 15%, that does triple them. So you can see what it is. I also gave an example. If we can't get 15, if we get 10%, then it will double it. So there's the example of what someone that owns 8 parcels in the district, how much they're paying and what it increases them to. So that's my presentation that I have. I know this is more of just a briefing of what we're trying to do. I know that I have reached out to the people that pay the highest, and I know the public should have input on this, but I did want to present this to council.
Thank you. Really appreciate that.
Just so, or Council President, one last thing.
Mhm.
Against my advice, she asked it for 15, just so you all know, I wanted the full 20 to get up to speed with other municipalities. And one of the main reasons that I am here side by side with her is because I own, if this goes through, I'll own 6 parcels in this district. So I'm asking you to raise a fee on something I will be responsible for myself, because I am fully confident that this is what the district needs. Because like she said, if this goes away, if the bid goes away, it's going to be felt citywide, not just downtown. Thank you.
Thank you. Do any council members have questions?
Council President Steele?
Councilmember Casey.
It shows that your presentation, 20% for the local bids. What is the average other than just the local ones? Is it usually 20%? 20%, okay.
Yes, there are a few smaller ones that have like 150 parcels that are at 15 or 10%. But like I said, we're at around 400 parcels, which puts us around the same as downtown Albany's and Central Ave bid.
Your billing, is that through just the city taxes, or is there a separate invoice for the bid?
It is from City of Troy, so we receive all the assessments from the city.
The staffing increase on here, where was that? Current staffing budget, 219, you're going up to 659. You want to go into that?
I do. Right now it's myself and a social media manager and a part-time beautification member. That budget you see there is having Leonard and Trevor as full-time, but because we had to cut Trevor based on, that's just the budget number. We cut it this year, but going into that, I would like to see 4 beautification members. So that is the people that are boots on the ground cleaning the streets. So Trevor and Leonard and 2 others. Myself, a social media manager, and an events person that can strictly just run the events for the downtown.
You know, you talk about the festivals. The festivals really, I remember when they first started, they really upped people's interest in Troy and got people to move to Troy. They're very, very, very important. The one thing I would like to say as a comment, and I know in years past, and we spoke about this earlier, there was much more cooperation with the administrations. And when we needed to get a big act for River Street Fest, which was usually the biggest act we would get, the mayor and deputy mayor, different administrations would get on the phone and get sponsors for that. And they had big acts, people on MTV, people knew, and I always talk about the Grassroots and Eddie Money and things like that. And what a crowd that it brought to downtown, exposed downtown Troy to people. I would like to see more of an outreach to the administration to get that back rolling, because what happened when they stepped away from that, they started to ask the events coordinator to make the phone calls, and that just did not have the same results. I just want to say, Rockin' on the River, again, we talked about this earlier, the revenue is based off beer sales. And what I've seen in other cities is elected officials or important people were asked, in the community were asked to volunteer. They have, the band is being paid for by beer sales, yet you could be in line for 20 minutes to get a beer. Okay, that's just lost revenue, lost revenue, lost revenue. I would say to you, like even this year, we have 24 people running for office in the city, and even one that isn't. I mean, that's your volunteer base, and they can even split it up by shifts. And just a few more people and speed that up would increase, you know, I feel would increase the revenue and a better experience for people. You know, I have to say every other week, I would like to see that back on there because every other week it does break up the consistency. I don't watch TV. I go see live music every week to rock the block and Rockin' on the River. And when it splits it up, it really, people didn't know if it was this week and they forgot. And I'd like to say it. But I want to ask you one other thing. I know this a while back, this predates both of you. Who's your beer vendor? Because originally it was started by Di Crescenti, and then there was a Saratoga Eagle thing I'm not going to go into. So do you still put that out to bid? Do you do it every year or?
Do. So the RFP goes out every year in April. It actually went out last week. So we do send an RFP to all the distributors in the capital region. So we do get proposals, and those proposals are just not as big as they used to be in the past. They're not the same. Just for perspective, Rocking on the River Rocking on the River costs the bid around $50,000 to do. And we do the beer sales with 4 events. And last year we spent $40,000. Our net gross, $600 is what we made from that, because that's how
Wow.
much we pay for the stage, the sound, the lights, the bands, the beer, the setup. So it is
Yeah.
a very expensive event for us to be doing with the budget that we have.
To piggyback on that as well is my suggestion to the board was Rocking on the River is great. It's great for the city. It brings people to the city. But by definition, we're the business improvement district. So by the bid becoming beer salesman, you're taking the beer sales away from Brown's, Chris Ryan, Nate Rock, and all the other bars downtown. So it has been a suggestion of mine. Rock Down the River is great. Live music is great for downtown. I think we need more of it. But how do we incorporate the people that pay rent here and that pay sales tax and that bring the people and employ the people to the city? The people that are living and working downtown for their businesses should be benefiting from these live concerts that we have. Not Di Crescenti and Saratoga Eagle and other craft beer vendors. Like the business owners I stated that have been here long term, they should be the ones benefiting from the events. Whatever these events we put on as a bit, the business owners that live and work here should be the ones benefiting.
Well, can I just say that when you have most all other events, I mean, it is a boom to every business in downtown when you have and this is a unique one, which you don't want to walk off site. But let me say this, and I also remember this in Albany, before and after the concert. I mean, they're doing really well. They're doing really well before and after. It's just that, you want it on site for Rock and River, but every other event, I mean, they do really well.
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly. Because the numbers that are coming back to her for these proposals, and it's a constant ask from them or an ask from them to us, is my proposal was how do we incorporate those business owners to allowing them to sell the beer at the events where the bid can generate money from maybe a booth rental. Like they rent a booth from the bid, and in return, they get the beer sales, right? Instead of, and this is just I don't even know if it's feasible, but instead of going back and forth with these big conglomerate beer vendors, why not feed the hometown person who's here every day?
It's interesting to look into. Thank you.
Any other questions? Comments? Just to clarify, so this assessment would be levied on businesses and property owners?
No, it's just property owners.
Just property owners?
Mhm.
Okay.
Commercial, yes, commercial property owners, 3 or more units.
Okay.
Single family homes.
Okay. Thank
They're
you.
not.
Thank you for that. Okay.
So, Council President.
Councilmember McLaren?
So is this something that you're looking to start for our next fiscal year?
Yes, so this would go into effect in the next fiscal year.
Okay. And So I know you said you've kind of gone around on your own
Mhm.
and kind of polled the people who this would affect, who would have to pay into that. Is there going to be a formal forum where people can talk about it and,
Mhm.
kind of get their feelings heard before, this were to go to a vote?
Yes, I would like to do that. I'm briefing you today, but I do want to do a public forum. Preferably would like to do it with city council because then you guys can hear from the constituents that are in the district.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
One last thing. What is the timeline for any of this, like public forum, bringing it to, for legislation? What's your timeline on that?
I would like to be 2 months would be a great timeline for me.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you very much on behalf of the council for that very informative analysis. Appreciate the context within the area.
Yeah.
That was very helpful.
thanks, Sue,
Okay,
Councilwoman.
that's right. Thank you. Thank you both.
Jamie, you want to just sit at, okay.
Like the mayor's here.
I haven't seen her.
No.
At this time, we have the public forum, and any member of the public is welcome to come forward and speak on any agenda item. The agendas are in the back of the room if anyone needs to take a look. We have ordinances and resolutions to discuss this evening. Does anyone wish to address the council as part of the public forum? Seeing none, we'll move right on to our agenda. Ordinance 18, ordinance approving settlement of tax certiorari proceedings instituted by Troy Scrap. Is it Scrap? Is that a typo? Okay. On the assessment roll of the city of Troy, Councilmember Casey, Council President Steele, at the request of the administration. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan, second. Councilmember Soriento.
It's probably. You don't have the word.
Yeah, I don't know. Does anyone want to discuss this? We have folks here. Are there any questions of council members? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 6 ayes, 0 noes. Ordinance 19, I've been notified needs an amendment. In the backup, I think, let's see here.
With the account number, right?
The account number should be end in 0003, not 002. So
You need a motion to make the amendment?
yeah, if you would, please. So I would entertain a motion.
Motion.
Second.
So we have an amendment to correct the account code by Councilmember McLaren, seconded by Councilmember Brosnan. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? On the amended resolution, a motion to move forward for discussion.
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan,
Second.
seconded by Councilmember Soriento. This is ordinance 19 is an ordinance appropriating funding from the assigned unappropriated fund balance of the water fund for the inventory of lead service lines, service line material investigation, and amending the water fund to appropriate such funding. Councilmember Casey, Council President Steele, at the request of the administration. We have discussion on this? Questions? Is there someone who is willing to answer?
Andrew,
Andrew, will you? You will? Okay. I'll start off with, I guess, why is this necessary, given the amount of money that we have?
Andrew, the mic's. over
There's a
there.
mic there if you want to,
You could grab it and bring it
either
up.
one. Given the amount of funding that we've received, why are we doing this?
The bids came in a little bit higher than I expected, so it's around $900 per pothole, which is the actual, the hydro excavation at the curb box, so we can identify the water service on the public and private side. So we needed to do about 800 of them for the Trinex, the LeadCast modeling. That's the AI software we're using to kind of predict where the lead water services are. So 800 is around the baseline that we needed to collect to put into the software. And, the grant funding was for $572,000 and the bids came in, a little bit higher than that. So it's just to make up that gap.
So we can't use the other funds that have been made available to us for lead replacement?
No, you
this
can't
is-
use the replacement funds. It's strictly
This
like
is
for
strictly-
inventory.
Okay,
Yep,
thank you.
welcome.
Councilmember McLaren?
So is that part of it done, or will it be ongoing, and will there be further shortfalls?
I don't think so. No, I think once we, round out this contract, we hit our 800 services that we're going to verify, we're going to close it out.
Okay,
And the work's already started.
okay, thank you.
Council President Steele.
Councilmember Casey?
I just had a question. Originally, I just want clarification. Originally, I thought that the homeowner went in or you sent somebody out and they verified whether it was lead from inside the house.
Mhm.
And then somebody was saying this week they're doing up in Sickaway.
Mhm.
And even though they had copper inside, so is that what this is doing? How do you just,
This is to verify the material that's going to be out in the street or in like from the curb valve to the water main, as well as, we've seen now that we've, gotten into this project, you might see copper in the basement and that may just have been that, outside there was a break and then they made a repair where it's lead to copper or galvanized, steel to copper. So it's not always like a clear indicator that if you see copper in the basement, that it's going to be copper all the way out to the road. We're finding.
so you have to do this exploratory thing?
Right, to see what the material is,
Oh, really?
from
See,
the sidewalk out into the roadway.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's your game plan for that? Are you going with those who have identified lead and doing them first?
Mhm.
How are you, addressing this?
That's a really good question. So for this particular funding we're talking about here, we've gotten a list from the engineering firm of like primary points and secondary points, based on the ages of homes, areas of where these homes are. They want to get a good, like scattered shot of houses all over the city based on year. So, they've provided a list and we've gone through and fact checked the list to make sure there's no like vacant, lots or, services that aren't there anymore. And those, comprise that list of the 800 houses that we're doing.
And at this point, is there any way to estimate time-wise what we're looking at?
To complete this project,
Yeah,
they're doing, on a good day, they're doing 12 to 15 of these. So, and in some places where the material is a little bit harder to dig, and if there's, other obstructions, we'll say they can do between like 5 and 8. So I don't see why, we wouldn't be done with this, if not in this construction season, definitely next.
okay.
Council President?
Councilmember McLaren?
So that's just checking. That's just doing the inventory.
Right, this is
not the
strictly about
replacement if you
inventory.
find lead.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And
This is the overall purpose of this would be to, we can use the information that we get back from this modeling software to apply for more grant funding for known lead services.
Okay.
to, we have the $12.8 million, I think, in bipartisan infrastructure funding that we're going to be utilizing for lead replacement this year. This is to allow for us to apply for more for upcoming construction seasons.
Okay. Now, I don't know if this is a question that you can answer, but I heard from someone who just had this done last week.
Mhm.
It was dug up. It
Mhm.
was, lead was found.
Yes.
Even though inside the house was not lead anymore.
Mhm.
They were off of the filter. But the hole that was dug up
Mhm.
remains. Is that typical?
That is typical to a point. They're gonna come back and, fill in. That's part of the bid document, whether it's one that's dug up in the grass, we have to fill that back up and, put topsoil back on that. If it's concrete, we need to replace the concrete that was removed.
Okay.
So, if it's in your driveway, if there's like blacktop there, we have to replace that. So
Okay.
that was a little bit of an issue right from the onset to figure out the, I guess, our interpretation of when that was going to get filled back in. And then with the contractor's idea was we've kind of settled that now to where we can't have, we don't want things like that sitting for more than a week or two without getting filled back in.
Okay. Because this just happens to be the sidewalk and later the same day, a little kid in the neighborhood fell and got hurt there. So the homeowner has kind of put up her own stakes so that
Gotcha.
won't happen again. But
Okay.
I didn't have an answer as to whether or not
Mhm.
someone was going to come back through
Yeah,
and fill it.
I think that was the situation that really, that's when we got in, contact with the contractor.
Okay.
That afternoon and said, hey, we need to
Okay.
figure out a better plan for this.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you.
Council President Steele, I just said.
Councilmember Casey?
Thank you. So this particular thing doesn't count for any of the houses that you find lead in the house. This is an exploratory
Mhm.
thing.
We-
So it's just those houses, right?
Yes, yeah, those 800 or so properties that are on the list, yeah.
Okay. And just why we got here, bids for lead pipe removal.
Mhm.
When is that going to happen? Those RFPs
So we're gonna have a
or
bid,
RFPs? supposed to be?
yeah, we're gonna have a bid package together, within the next week or so. That's gonna go out and then we'll have another larger bid package, utilizing the BIL grant funding later this year.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate
Welcome.
it.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance 19 is adopted 6-0. Ordinance 20, ordinance authorizing sale of a certain city-owned parcel of real property by the proposal sale application method. Councilmember Casey, Council President Steele, at the request of the administration. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Soriento,
Second.
seconded by Councilmember Keel. Discussion? Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Adopted 6-0. Resolution 38, resolution reappointing Alyssa McClenahan to the Board of Assessment Review of the City of Troy. Councilmember Casey, Council President Steele, at the request of the administration. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan, second.
Second.
Councilmember McLaren. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0. Resolution 39, resolution appointing Francis A. LaPasta to the Board of Assessment Review of the City of Troy. Councilmember Casey, Council President Steele, at the request of the administration. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Wow, we had quite a group on that one. I'm going to give it to Councilmember Soriento
Thank you.
with a seconded by Councilmember Keel. Any discussion on 39? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Adopted 6-0. Resolution 40, resolution proclaiming May 2025 as Building Safety Month in the City of Troy. Councilmember Soriento, Councilmember Casey, Councilmember Brosnan, Council President Steele, at the request of the administration. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Keel with a second by Councilmember McLaren.
You're gonna have to go
Good.
the other way,
I'm sorry.
because he's one of the sponsors. You have to second. right?
I'm not showing him as a
Oh,
sponsor.
I was looking at it. Sorry, gonna have myself.
Okay. Any discussion on the resolution?
Council President,
Councilmember Brosnan?
I'm happy the land bank got to be here for Building Safety Month. Their whole gig is coming in, making buildings safer. Something we really need in Troy. Something great. That's it.
Thank you.
I had the same thought.
Okay. Great minds think alike. That's good. All in favor?
And
Opposed? Resolution 40 is adopted unanimously. Resolution 41, resolution proclaiming May 2025 as Mental Health Awareness Month in Troy, New York. Councilmember Brosnan, Councilmember Casey, Councilmember Keel, spelled wrong.
Council President, I'd like to co-sponsor this.
Council President Steele, we're adding Councilmember Soriento and Councilmember McLaren.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Unanimous.
Since we're all on this,
uh,
I think we can assume that
It's unanimous.
it's unanimous
Unanimous.
motion to make, second, and all of the above. Resolution 42, resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Lansingburg Central and Troy City School Districts for the School Resource Officer Program. Councilmember Keel, we need to teach them how to spell your name.
I already made mention, it's because your name rhymes with mine,
Uh-huh,
it just looked similar,
I
so they
see.
just substituted
is that what it was?
the S with a K.
Okay, alrighty.
I'd like to also co-sponsor this.
Okay. You as well.
Yes, please.
So we're adding Councilmember Soriento and McLaren. And I think we will just assume all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 43, resolution of lead agency pursuant to the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, declaring that a proposed project involving the development of a clean thermal energy network within the city of Troy, including certain improvements within Riverfront Park, will not have a significant adverse impact on the environment. Councilmember Casey, Council President Steele, at the request of the administration, is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember McLaren with a second by Councilmember Soriento. Discussion on the resolution. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 43 is adopted unanimously.
Council President,
Councilmember McLaren?
just, we didn't do a discussion on 42 because we
were all in favor.
we were all in favor.
Okay, would you
So
like
I
to
just-
discuss?
If you don't mind.
Certainly, we'll go back to 42,
Okay.
discuss.
I just wanted to express how important SROs are in our school district. For a lot of reasons, being in an elementary school, when they come into our building, it's not usually because there's an issue, but because they just want to kind of build relationships with the kids. And in a day and age when we have to spend a few days a year crouched in the corner, waiting for a police officer to open the door to let us know that it's okay to get out from our hiding spot, it's very important for the kids to see a face that they recognize because the officers have been in our building. So I would just like to thank the Troy Police Department and the SROs for their support in our schools.
Any other comments on 42?
Thank you.
Sure. So we're back to 44. Resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Capital District Transportation Authority for ongoing funding to operate CDPHP cycle. Councilmember Casey, Council President Steele, at the request of the administration. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan with a second by Councilmember Soriento. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 44 is adopted. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Councilmember Soriento with a second by Councilmember Brosnan. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to all who attended.
Yes. Easter.
Thank you. Thank you for.
It is.